what's up, Internet? I'm Troy the Max Extreme.
And I'm Ghost Hunter Dave.
Today we will be... Oh, wait, no. Let's start over. I'm going to say it's IMPERIUS REX first.
Good thinking.
Hey, what's up, Internet? I'm Troy the Max Extreme.
And I'm Ghost Hunter Dave.
And this is IMPERIUS REX.
Yep.
On today's show, we'll be covering the Ultimate Marvel Universe.
Oh, man. Long gestating episode here.
Yes. And we'll get it right this time. It's a promise we made to each other.
Yes. We've had 2 false starts in the previous recording sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're usually at the end of our wits. We record a couple of these at once, so by the time we get talking about the Ultimate Universe, we're just...
too drunk.
Here's some clips from the past.
Ultimate Spider-Man is kind of started the Ultimate line that's now done in Marvel Comics. I'm sad to see the Ultimate Universe is done.
Yeah.
Especially for that book. I mean, you are the saddest dog I think I've ever seen.
Which one of these has real beer?
The one by the Escapists.
Oh, whew. Remy. Rem. You're not in the shot. We just look like idiots.
We're just like crazy people. Today we'll be going over the now defunct...
It's done for. Dunzo. Dead.
It is.
What? What happened?
We're going over the now defunct Marvel's Ultimate Universe. I know. So grab some tissues, maybe some lube.
No.
No, Dave! God,
Rem, come on. Out. Whew. All right, go up. Get mommy. Go get mommy. Love you. All right, so this time we'll get it right.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so Troy, the Ultimate Universe.
Yes.
Started in 2000.
Right.
With Spider-Man, followed by X-Men, then Ultimates, and then that was their answer to the Avengers, and then Fantastic Four. And then over the course of 15 years, they had a handful of miniseries, a couple crossovers, and like a few little one-offs here and there. But that was essentially it. Those were kind of the core titles.
Yeah.
Which, that's impressive.
Right.
You know, it's a series that didn't get bogged down with like 5 Spider-Man titles or like 20 different X-Men titles.
Right, yeah.
Like they kept it just that core for a long time.
Yep.
And not everyone needed their own book. Like Hulk was in Ultimates, Captain America was in Ultimates, Thor was in Ultimates, and that was enough.
Yeah, and I like that in Ultimates they use that chance to just kind of throw in, we'll try this guy here, maybe won't have his own title. But like otherwise, a lot of the other villains that you might like do show up in some form or another, especially in Spider-Man. They hit a lot of them.
Oh, yeah. It felt like, as someone that, like, my first exposure to a lot of the Marvel Universe was in the cartoon shows of, like, the 90s Spider-Man, X-Men, and all those.
Yeah.
It seemed like kind of like that.
Right.
You know, how it's like, you got everything you needed. You had kind of a new take on an old story condensed to, like, a pretty digestible experience, and then they moved on, and they just kind of... They had a wealth of stuff to choose from.
Right.
And they did everything, you know, they did their take on all the big events and did some new stuff.
Right.
But the main draw and reason for the Ultimate Universe was taking all these classic characters that everyone knew, but were so steeped in continuity that, like, the average reader could never even begin to chip away at it.
Right, yeah.
And they just started them all from the ground up in the modern time.
Yeah.
And that was essentially it. Like, it was telling good stories with classic characters without needing decades of backstory.
Yeah, and what they could do here, too, is definitely plan out where they were going. They did take a lot of the older... And maybe this was almost to some of their fault sometimes. They did take older classic storylines and modernize them, or just, like, distill them down to what really worked.
Yeah.
And just tell that. And then maybe do something with a twist on it or whatever. Now, some of that didn't always work. Like, they took the Clone Saga, which is, like, by far one of the most hated Spider-Man storylines or whatever they were trying to do in the 90s, and they distilled it down to like 6 issues and told a completely different story.
Which was passable.
Yeah, it was...
It was better than what they started with. Yeah. So the Ultimate Universe was kind of kick-started by Brian Michael Bendis, Mark Miller, Warren Ellis played a part at the beginning.
A light part,
and then some pretty good art teams, too. Brian Hitch did Ultimates flawlessly.
That definitely put him on the map when he came out with that.
Yep, and Mark Bagley did Ultimate Spider-Man with Bendis, and they have, I think, the longest run for a comic creator team right now.
I don't know if it's the longest one right now, but it definitely was when they reached 111. They had the longest running combo for that 111 issues or whatever it was. I want to say it's been broken now.
So it started up in 2000, and it was a great jumping on point for all kinds of new readers. It wasn't bogged down by crossovers or anything. And if they did crossover, like, it meant something. It was a big event. It wasn't just the annual event. You know? So that was cool. And for the first 10 years or so, it was great. They were Marvel's top-selling books. The current cinematic universe owes a ton.
All of it.
To the Ultimate Universe. Video games, everything. Even the regular Marvel universe, the comic universe, borrowed so much from the Ultimate Universe. That was kind of one of the nails in the Ultimate coffin, because it wasn't fresh anymore. It was just kind of the same thing that the regular universe is doing.
Do you want to go with what kind of was the downfall, like what you thought the first nail in the coffin was?
I've got it right here. 2009, Ultimatum. Yes.
Huge turd.
Oh, yeah. Preceded by Ultimates 3. Which was kind of like the prelude to Ultimatum, both written by Jeff Loeb. Normally, very talented writer. Did some amazing Superman stories, some great Marvel stuff.
The Marvel
Colors series.
And a lot of awesome Batman runs, too, with him and Tim Sale.
Long Halloween. Great writer. Really stunk it up on the Ultimate series. I don't know what happened,
but it was not good.
Oh, phoned in, really cliche, just terrible. Just terrible.
When it jumped to Ultimates 3 with Loeb taking over, the art team changed too, because it went to Joe Madureira rather than Brian Hitch. So you went from this
ultra realistic
to like cartoony, really loose and bouncy looking people. And I think that caught a lot of people off guard. Like, I was up for a change of pace, but I wasn't a fan of it.
No, tonally everything was different. It went from being a very political based real world superhero team to just off the wall, like, really cheesy Avengers book. Like, they didn't even look like the Ultimates anymore. They just looked like the Avengers.
And then when he went on to do Ultimatum, their big, huge event that sprawled, like, every title and changed the game for everything going on.
Killing off major characters in
a panel.
There was it's a 5-issue miniseries, and there were issues where, like, maybe 15 characters died. Like, some of them,
big characters.
They just, like, said, oh, and Nightcrawler, Beast, and all these guys are dead, too. You didn't even see it. They were just, like, off-panel, Daredevil died. Just cleaning house, but not in a good way.
No.
You know?
The one thing that the Ultimate Universe did do well is that everything that they did, they were, like, no retcons, were just going straight through. So, like, these characters didn't come back.
To their detriment. Because after Ultimatum, they were left with, like, not a whole lot of interesting characters.
No.
Wolverine, Cyclops, the majority of the X-Men were killed off. Spider-Man had a bit of a fake out. He was fine. But they kind of hinged it on, oh, Spider-Man dead? He's not.
Nope.
Yet. So, Ultimatum is where the majority of the titles, which up until that point were all pretty good. Fantastic Four and X-Men faltered and never recovered right around Ultimatum. Spider-Man kept strong the entire run.
All the way through.
But after Ultimatum, everything dipped. Even Spider-Man dipped a little bit. But yeah, that was the first nail in the coffin. Followed up very quickly, I think 2 years later, in 2011, by the Death of Spider-Man arc. Which, if you're kind of breaking this up into fourths, quadrants? Quarters? Quarters.
Quarters, some people say.
15-minute increments. So the next big event was the death of Spider-Man, which not a whole lot happened between Ultimatum and Death of Spider-Man, but then Spider-Man died, kind of out of the blue.
Right.
I think Punisher shot him, and he was mortally wounded, and then took on the Sinister Six, and him and the Green Goblin duked it out, and he just died as a result.
You know what? I don't hate that, though. Like, I thought that was actually handled pretty well, and the last few pages of that were pretty emotional. They were pretty tear-jerking, because he legit
gives it his all.
Gives it his all, and then gives it his life to save the people he loves.
Yeah.
And I thought it was done pretty well.
Yep.
And from that, you get Miles Morales, which was a huge jumping on point.
Yes.
For Ultimate Spider-Man, and for an amazing character that is now still around, and they're trying to not have him go away.
Yeah.
By having him being in stuff, you know?
Yeah, so with Death of Spider-Man, then came on their next kind of reboot era, which I don't know what you would call this, but Miles Morales Spider-Man, Jonathan Hickman started writing the Ultimates, and he gave 2 really good arcs of that before handing it off, and it went downhill right after that. But he did some great sci-fi, futuristic superhero stuff. And then after that, we got Cataclysm.
Yeah.
Which, at this point, it's like they're trying everything they can to destroy this universe. And I don't know why. Like, they were losing readers, but, like, either kill it or don't. They couldn't make up their mind. So Galactus comes in.
Yeah.
And,
the 616 Galactus.
Yeah, the regular universe. They have a fight. They get rid of him.
Yep.
Moving on. A couple more big names die. Captain America dies. A few others. And then there's like a year until Secret Wars in the regular Marvel Universe finally ends the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah. They do their Crisis on Infinite Earths, essentially, and they merge everything together.
And it was just like an off-the-cuff thing, like, oh yeah, and that's done too. Like, they were just, should we get rid of it now? Yeah, let's just wipe the slate clean.
They just needed a backdoor for Miles Morales to go into the regular universe with a handful of characters that were in his like little family that it was going on right now.
Yeah. So now all that remains of the Ultimate Universe is Miles Morales, and I think Reed Richards is he still around.
What about that one like villain girl?
Oh, her. Yeah, she's big.
My mistake.
Villain girl. I'll wiki her.
I can't remember. She was like Kaboom or whatever her name was.
Oh, Bombshell?
Yeah.
I think she might be in the Miles Morales stuff.
Okay.
Like, he had some peripheral characters that came over with him.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Strike that from the record.
I just finished up everything a while back. Like, it took me forever to finally get around to reading the Miles Morales Spider-Man, and it was amazing.
Yeah, it's really
Loved
good.
it.
And I've yet to fill in like holes. I haven't read any of the other Ultimate Avenger titles after Ultimatum. Like, I've never read any of that stuff yet.
Yeah.
And I've heard that some are great, some aren't so great. So
Mark Miller comes back to it.
Yeah.
But he just kind of plays around with it. He's not making any type of like political statement or treating it seriously.
Yeah.
It's more just like, I'll give it a shot.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you have any favorite moments? I was going to say the first arc of the Ultimates, where the team is built and then they go off against the Hulk.
Yeah, that was really good.
It's kind of been done since then in a lot of different mediums, but like that was where it came from. Like the team fighting the Hulk. It was a very slow burn storytelling, but when it finally paid off, amazing.
Yeah. I actually really like the depiction of the new Fantastic Four, the Ultimate Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
It starts, I think, really strong, and it's the best the Fantastic Four have been in a long time, up until maybe Hickman's run with the like regular continuity stuff.
Yep.
But
yeah, they're very young in it.
Yeah, which I appreciate, and they tried to do in like Trank's Fantastic Four movie. Did not work for other reasons, but I really think it's good up until like maybe about halfway through.
Yeah.
And then it kind of goes off the rails, and a lot of art changes, and not consistent writers. And
yeah, I think when Miller hands it on to whoever the guy that followed him was, I think that's kind of where it drops off. Speaking of Fantastic Four, one of my favorite things is the fact that Reed Richards becomes this evil maniac.
Yeah.
He essentially takes over as like the Doctor Doom role.
Yeah.
And Hickman writes a lot with him as the villain in the Ultimate series he does, and it's great. He's one of those we talk a lot about utopias, but he's one of those guys that wants to build a perfect utopia, and he has no problem, like, cleaning the slate to get it.
He sees himself, like, so above everybody else that, like, he has no emotion anymore.
Yep, and his face is all scarred up, kind of like Dr. Doom, because Johnny goes supernova on him at one point. Like, it's really interesting. I think it's the most interesting Reed has ever been as a villain. We could kick it while it's down and say the worst moments. I mean, we've hit a lot of them. Ultimates 3, Ultimatum. The very anticlimactic ending of Ultimate End.
Yeah.
It was one of the sister books of Secret Wars. Is just a nothing of an ending. Yeah,
I heard just Bendis wanted to make sure he wrote the end to the Ultimate Universe because he started it, essentially.
He wrote an end.
It is an end.
Yes.
If anything. But, it's... The way the whole universe kind of ends is kind of disappointing. But, like, if you were to read anything, Spider-Man all the way through is pretty great.
Oh, yeah. Yep. So final thoughts on the Ultimate Universe? Read it, skip it.
Definitely read it. And it's all done, too. So if you are a completionist and you want to get all of this whole universe, you can. And it will take up maybe quite a bit of shelf space. But
2 shelves.
Yeah. But it's worth it. There's a lot of highlights in there. And if you are a fan of the cinematic universe, you'll see, like, everything is taken from this.
Yeah.
Actually, Ultimate Spider-Man is what got me back into comics when it came out. So,
me too.
And now I just have what you see going on all over behind us.
Yes. So, yeah, definitely, it gets kicked a lot. It's one of those things that people look back on, like, not with the best
not with rose-colored glasses at all.
No, but like I'm hoping a little bit of time passes and then they think like, oh yeah, man, like
that was
so
really
much good
great.
stuff came from that. I don't quite understand all the hate. Maybe it's just in the moment it was consistently not great for a while, but
near the end there. But
what they had when they started, unprecedented.
Yes.
There we go.
Great. Well, that was the Ultimate Universe. You okay, Dave?
I'll be alright.
Well, I've been Troy the Max Extreme.
And I've been Ghost Hunter Dave.
And join us next time we go over another great comic topic on IMPERIUS REX.
Alrighty.